Hi everybody, you're listening to the 11th episode of I'm Gaming Podcast, a show that deals with the video game industry, entrepreneurship and gaming nostalgia. My name is Ivica, thank you so much for being here and listening to me, and especially thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Your donations and your help mean so much to me. So again, thank you very much for deciding to both stick with me and give me some money. If you too want to check out my Patreon page, the link is in the description below, so please do that. If you can spare anything, I would be more than grateful. Now, this episode is called Finding Your Margin of Success, and it's about the process and the psychology of actually deciding what is success to you and what does it mean to you personally and inside of your own venture. Now, all of this started because I left a Reddit post that got really popular, and I already talked a lot about Reddit on my podcast in the previous episodes, but this time it's not about some kind of process I used to get that popularity. It was basically an R-Entrepreneur, it's a subreddit about entrepreneurship post, where I said that I've finally hit $10 per month on my Patreon page. And that was a huge deal for me. It still is. I'm really grateful for it. And it was something I was looking for. If you listen to my previous episodes, I was desperately looking for that proof of concept, in my view, that at least some of my listeners or people who find this podcast would find it good enough to give me $1 or even more. Now, I was fortunate enough to find some of those people, and again, I'm super grateful for them. Which is why I shared the same post on Entrepreneur subreddit. It got a lot of traction really fast, but it's something that the Reddit crowd called a controversial topic. So there was a lot of negative opinions on the page on the topic as well, because basing on my assessment, something around maybe 50% of posts were positive and they were like, yay, good job, or actually had some advice or ideas for the future of the podcast and everything like that. And half, or somewhere maybe a little bit less than half, were actually openly wondering, why the hell am I sharing this? $10 per month is nothing. And for them it was like, why am I having this kind of victory lap here with so little to show for it? And this started actually a series of conversations on the same post where people argued what is actually the point here, not just in terms of the money itself, which is not a lot in any part of the world. Even in the developing countries, it's a lot more than in the US, but it's still nothing that you can live from, at least not sustainably. So it's universally a small amount, and I completely agree with this. However, the conversation that got going was basically around what is a successful process. Because for me, the actual validation of the concept was the fact that some people find this good enough to get activated to a point where they send me a few bucks per month. It's great if they send me $1. It's even better if they send more. But the most important thing about every one of those individuals is that they checked out the podcast and found some value in it. Now, I know there probably are more people who also find value in it, but not enough value to donate, or maybe they don't use Patreon, or maybe they think they'll start donating at some point, or maybe they're against donating and they share my podcast on social media, which is also super valuable to me. And that's all cool. But in this case, with Patreon, you can get that really clear signal that someone says, okay, this either has potential, or I enjoy it, or it gives me some value in whatever means, that I'm going to do this really tangible action that to me as a content creator says this is good, or at least good enough. And that was super important to me. But a lot of people on Reddit were wondering, where do I go from there? Because in their minds, even if I do twice as good, 20 bucks per month, it's nothing. Even if I get to 100 bucks per month, it's nothing in terms of actual value of money compared to the amounts of work I need to invest, the hours I spend, and so forth. Also, a lot of people reference the idea of growth. Where do I grow from here? So it's for many people on Reddit and entrepreneurship domain, it was kind of a dead-end process, because even if everything goes according to plan, I'm still left with not that much cash. Now, this is a completely valid point of view. And it's true. Even if everything blows up in terms of audience, people who want to support me on Patreon, people who want to use this to advertise and promote their products, I'm still left with a small amount of money. People doing different kinds of entrepreneurial processes make a lot more money with a lot less effort. And this is a really interesting question, because it revolves around the concept of the margin of success. What is the margin of success for a person? Well, that's the trick. You're the only one who decides on that margin, and you're the one who says this is success for me. In its core, it's the idea that we, as creators of any kind, it doesn't matter if you create podcasts, let's play videos, games, you write novels, or self-help books, or create courses, it's all the same. We all do that to get some value out of it. None of these things are artistic ventures. Artistic ventures are in themselves a value. All of us, most of us, enjoy doing this, that's a given, but not to a point where we don't feel the need to share it, and we don't have mechanisms that look for ways to monetize it. So it's more akin to a business venture than an artistic venture, even though it can have artistic elements to it, and that's cool. However, we're all, at the end of the day, also looking for that financial value or practical value in terms of growing our channels, getting more audience towards us, getting more eyeballs on our products and so forth, which is also fine. The problem is that no one can tell you what your margin of success should be. For example, if you have a YouTube channel, you can't set your margin of success at being PewDiePie. That won't happen. Even if it does happen, it will happen in a long time from now. The whole process will see you simply not succeeding and constantly not succeeding. There's a big problem with that, because at one end, it can be motivational for some people, the idea of needing to grind on, to push on. But at the other hand, it kind of leaves you in a limbo where you're constantly failing, you're constantly losing and not getting to the point where you want to be. Now, it's cool to be ambitious. It's actually essentially ambitious, because with that ambition, you're able to push your ventures further on. You still want to get something in return, but at the same time you have high goals. Goals are fine, but at the same time, if you don't get that sense of satisfaction and sense that things are going the way you want them to go, you can easily get to a point of burnout. This is something I explore in my book, which is called The Pursuit of Micro Success. Links will be in the description below, where I argue that everyone who wants to get into entrepreneurship or online business or whatever should make their own small one-person ventures based online. They can be selling content, products, creating services, it doesn't matter. The key in this approach of micro venture is to set up something that's basically a simple plan. For example, you set up a YouTube channel that you want to monetize through selling affiliate products. Create that channel, start making videos, and just grind on it. Slowly but surely, add more content, more videos, look for ways to get bigger audience numbers, better sales. But this is the most important element. Set a defined amount of time you want to work on it. 3 hours per week, 4 hours, 5 hours. But always do the same amount. Never over it, never under it. Simply keep it going. Because at the end of the day, I believe that these kinds of small ventures can all universally succeed to a point if you just stick with them and stick to that basic plan. But that's the second thing. These microventures need to include their margin of success. You want to make with your affiliate YouTube channel $200 per month, or $50 per month, or $300 per month. Something that you can realistically reach, and then set a new goal which is slightly higher, all the while sticking to that time estimate that you had at the beginning. So the trick is not to get into a venture that you make yourself, which kind of struggles at the beginning, because every venture struggles at the beginning, small, big, it doesn't matter. And then you start pushing yourself to do more, to spend more time, while the margin of success remains unclear. You just want more. I wanted more visitors, I wanted more sales, but how much more, it's not clear to you. And when you get into that mental state, you get into the risk of burnout. Because let's say you want to get sales through that affiliate website or channel. Those sales are not getting there. There are no sales for days, and then you get one sale and you're happy and you want to get 5 sales the next day. That's really unrealistic. But you still push onto it. You start like really hitting the same process hard. For example, making a lot more videos, investing 20 hours per week or 30, or spending your entire weekends on it. And then you still get one sale, which isn't bad, but you push the game up with more content, with more effort you invested, and a part of you wants to see that investment returned in the form of whatever conversion you have. In this case, say online sales you get through the same channel. And when that doesn't happen constantly, you start wondering, why the hell am I investing more time? I'm going to get sick of it. And you do get sick of it, and then you simply drop it at some point. And that's the biggest tragedy of all microventures, just quitting them. The niche is not important, the saturation on the market is not important. The important thing is to stick with it and have some kind of a margin of success that you can reach realistically, and then elevate it. For example, the same website, again not website, YouTube channel, could have the margin of success of earning anything each month. If it's one sale, it's one sale. Does that mean that if you invest 3 hours per week into it, so invested over a month, I don't know, let's say 15 hours, and you get in return anywhere between 10 and $50, does that make it worth you? Of course, many on our entrepreneur will say, no, it's completely stupid, you don't get anything from it, it's a really low amount of money for that amount of time you invested. However, if you keep getting that 10 or 15 or $50 per month, and you stick with the plan, stick with the program, stick with the timeline you set for yourself, in 12 months, the situation might be that you earn, for the same amount of time and effort you make, again 15 hours per month, you get $100. The question is, after that, what do you get in another year? So as you can see, no one can define the margin of success for you. The thing that is important is that you define it for yourself and that you're content with that margin of success. It can be lower, it can be higher. That's again completely up to you. But if you have it and if you can reach it, this will push you further in terms of motivation and satisfaction with that venture and your effort and time you invested into it. It will push you further to elevate that margin of success slightly and keep elevating it over months and even years if it's necessary. The important thing about microventures is also that they are not primary source of your income. There shouldn't be. They're side gigs. They are something you play with on a scale of a hobby, but a hobby that you religiously stick to, and a hobby that can not only provide you with essential psychological benefits, which is the satisfaction, the idea that you're creating something, that something is growing. It's really an organic kind of an idea in your mind, a really beneficial organic idea, but also in terms of monetary value, of financial value. It's a side income for you and your family. It might look like it's completely trivial, but things tend to add up. So for example, if my podcast hopefully continues to draw in slightly bigger and bigger audiences, people who watch it find some value in it, it has a lot of potential. Not now, but in 2 or 3 or 4 years, I'm not planning to drop it anytime soon, it can be a real game changer for me, especially because at the same time also I'm a game designer working in the gaming industry. I have the basic YouTube channel where I have my other gaming videos which are also helped with any exposition from here. It's kind of a network of things that support one another, and all of them ultimately support me as somebody who can make these things, and they can work to some degree. Some can say, okay, this is really small, it's not that important for you or anyone else, but someone else will say this is not bad. Actually, a lot of people who have Patreon pages don't have a single supporter. So you already did something. It's not big, but it's also more than nothing, and that's the key point. Micro ventures and any kind of venture you have is always better than no venture, because if you don't invest huge amounts of money in it, just your time, which you take over from your leisure time, you're all good in my view. Because the other way around is, oh, I invested 10 hours per week into my venture, which I could have spent watching Netflix. You are the person living your life, you are the person engaged in any kind of business or entrepreneurship venture or project, so your assessment of what is success and what is not success is the only thing that's important. Same goes for any kind of activity you might be involved with, from making games to making YouTube videos, writing, creating art that you sell through online platforms. It applies to everything. So set your margin of success wherever you see it. Try to set it realistically and set it in a way that you have a predefined amount of time you're investing in it and spending on it, and find ways to see it grow. Slowly, by small steps, but these small steps accumulate. Everyone started somewhere, and everyone got a small taste of success first, which then built upon itself over and over and over until that success became huge for somebody. But even for those who don't get a level of success that is insane, that will happen with my podcast. My podcast can basically stagnate and even lose audience if I'm really bad. Or it can grow slightly. No one will listen to my podcast and say, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, it's insanely good, this needs to be heard by everyone, I'm going to spread the word. The world will know about Ivica. That won't happen. And I'm okay with that, because thinking it differently would be not just unrealistic, it would be basically wishful thinking. And you can't create anything sustainable on wishful thinking alone. Ideally, you don't have any wishful thinking, or if you do, you can recognize it as fantasies and hopes, which are good. We need to have those, they motivate and push us further, but they are not actual pillars on things realistically in the real world stand. So set your margin of success and work on that margin. Whatever others say, try to take it into consideration, even if it's hostile, but ultimately it's always up to you and the amount of work and effort you want to invest something, and then see it grow in, again, your terms. This was all I had for this episode. I hope you found it interesting. I hope that the margin of success means something to you now in terms of your own activities or planned activities. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page, and don't forget to check out my book, The Pursuit of Micro Success. Links are in the description below. Give them a look. If you have any questions about any of this, or comments, especially negative comments like, yeah, you suck and $10 is nothing, you moron, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you didn't watch or listen to my previous episodes, do check them out as well. You have the playlists, and the previous 10 episodes are all here, so give them a listen as well. My name is Ivica. This was the 11th episode of I'm Gaming Podcast, and thank you so much for being here, listening to it. Until the next time, thanks and have a great day. Bye bye.